Hi everybody, hope all of you are doing great. In today's video, I will be comparing the performance of Samsung's the new and the best laptop available, Book 3 Ultra, and this one is the i9 version. It's a UK version with RTX 4070, but unfortunately we can get only 16 GB of RAM in UK, 32 GB is not available. On the other side, I have a MacBook Pro. This is a M1 Max model with a 32 core GPU and 32 GB of RAM. So 16 more GB of RAM on M1 MacBook Pro. And this is a 16-inch model. On the other hand, Book 3 Ultra only comes in a 16-inch version. So the way I'll do it, I will run Cinebench on both the machines, and then I will run few games. So I don't have M2 Max available at the moment, but M2 Max is roughly 15 to 20% faster in both computing tasks and the graphic tasks compared to M1 Max. So with these results, you will get an idea if you are going to buy M2 Max, how faster or slower it will be compared to Book 3 Ultra. I will run Cinebench on both these laptops while they are plugged in, and then I will run the same test on a battery power. So let's start the Cinebench on both laptops. Okay, I've got Cinebench open on both the laptops. So as you can see, the Samsung laptop has a 13th gen Core i9 13900H processor. It has a 14 cores, 20 thread at 3 GHz. Windows, I don't know why it's showing Windows 10, but obviously it does have Windows 11 version. It's something to do because this is a new laptop. It's something to do with optimization of the software. So as you can see on the MacBook, this is M1 Max processor, 10 cores with on at 3.2 gigahertz. And it's a Mac OS 13.3.1 version. Okay, I have closed all other programs or softwares running in the background. So let's start the test and see which one finishes first and what will be the score. Okay, I am going to start single core test first. By the time this test is running, let me share a few key differences and my experience using both these laptops. I have more experience using MacBook Pro as that is my daily driver for more than 1.5 years. Samsung Book 3 Ultra, I've been using this laptop for 1.5 months. So, but there are a few key differences. The first one is obviously the operating system. So if you like to play games and stuff, then the Samsung's laptop should suit you more. The reason behind it, there are not many games which are available or optimized for the Mac OS. I'm talking about the AAA titles and stuff like that. So I don't know why this one is keep on going in this mode. I think the Cinebench is not really optimized for it or whatever. Okay, it's back. And the second thing is the main difference is the display. So for the creative work, I still think that MacBook Pro's display is much better as it is a 10-bit panel compared to the 8-bit panel of Book 3 Ultra. Now it comes only when you are color grading 10-bit or higher, especially the videos. If you're still in 8-bit and you color grade 8-bit videos, then this Book 3 Ultra is completely fine. But if you are grading 10-bit or higher videos, it's not a big issue with the Book 3 Ultra, but still I prefer to do that on MacBook Pro's display. And but on the other side, playing games, watching movies, the OLED display is much better, as you can still see on your screen that this display is more vibrant compared to the MacBook Pro's display. But for creative work, I think the MacBook Pro's display is much better. When it comes to the color accuracy, they are kind of same. I haven't seen any huge difference when you put this laptop, the Book 3 Ultra into RGB mode. Make sure when you are doing color editing in photos or videos, take it out from the Samsung profile, go in the display settings and use RGB profile. to give you the better accuracy. Otherwise, if you're going to be using the Samsung's default color profile, your color is going to be too sharp. So you will be editing on this one, and if somebody's watching the same video on some other display, they will not get that vibrancy because you have edited the colors by just looking at this. Or if you use scopes, then it's not a problem. You can use either display, and if you just follow the scopes. Okay, the third thing, and which can be very important for some, is the performance on battery. Apple's MacBook Pro, you get almost the same performance. It's no difference. It's very negligible, maybe 1 or 2%. Its performance is less on a battery power, but most of the time, I'll say 99.9% of the times, it's exactly the same performance you can get while it's plugged in or on a battery. So, but on the other hand, you will lose approximately on a Book 3 Ultra roughly 35 to 40% of the performance on battery. So keep that in mind. If you will be playing intensive games, then you need to keep this laptop plugged in. Then with the batteries, another thing, that battery life is much better on MacBook Pro compared to Book 3 Ultra. You can say like roughly around 25 to 30% better, or even 40% better on the MacBook Pro. So that's a huge plus for the MacBook Pro. Then the fifth difference, and the key one, which can affect a lot of people, is the fan noise. If you can hear a very light hiss that in this video, that's coming from the Samsung laptops. So this laptop has fans built in, but they are not as loud as other gaming laptops, Windows gaming laptops, but they are not quite. On the other hand, even though you are editing 8K videos on a MacBook Pro, they never get too loud. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that these ones on a Book 3 Ultra, the fans can get loud. So keep that in mind. And then keyboard, I think they are pretty much, both of them, they're quite good. The only complaint I have with the Samsung laptop, that the keyboard, the trackpad is not in the middle of the full keyboard. It is in the middle of if you take the numpad out, it is middle of the main keyboard, this area. But if you consider this whole keyboard, including the numpads, is pushed on the left hand side. So that's one thing. Then speakers. The MacBook Pro speakers, they are much better compared to the Samsung ones. Samsung ones are not bad, but I prefer the MacBook Pro speakers. Then what else? Trackpad. Apple's trackpad is, I think, far superior. This one is, it's not bad compared to the Windows laptop, but if you compare this to the other Windows laptop, it's quite big. I think it's even bigger than the MacBook's trackpad, but it's not as precise, and the haptic feedback, the touch, the clicks, they are better on the MacBook Pro. What else? Connectivity and everything. Yeah, full SD card, full-size SD card, micro SD card, and I think that was a very stupid choice from Samsung. But nevertheless, you got a micro SD card, so if you got a drone, then you'll be happy with that. But I would have much preferred like the full SD card. Webcam, they're quite good, both of them, no problem there. As you can see, both the laptops, they are plugged in, and I've got a single core score for both laptops. So the single core score on Apple is 1486, as you can see, and on Samsung it is quite high, roughly 25-30% more, I would say. 1904. I have started the multi-core test on both the laptops. Let's quickly compare the single core score of Samsung's i9-13900H compared to the other processors. Okay, so here is the score of the Samsung's single core 1904. You got Intel 11th Gen i7 1165, got a 1532. Then again another i7 Then i7-7700K, that's quite an old CPU, 1230. So quite a nice score, and I did let the test run for full 10 minutes. It took, I think, 13 minutes to complete 2 loops. On Apple, it took roughly 14 and a half minutes, or roughly 15 minutes to complete 2 loops. And the single core score on Apple, you can see it is 1486. There are a few other machines which have managed to get 1543, but on my one is 1486. Compared to Intel 11th gen, it is only few points more, but it is faster than that. So single core performance, definitely the Samsung Book 3 Ultra is faster compared to the M1 Max from Apple. But when it comes to M2 Max, I think because M2 Max is roughly 15 to 20% faster than compared to the M1, so I think they will be very comparable. So if you're in a market for high-end ultra book, the single core performance, I think on that one should be around 1800, roughly close to the i9 processor of Book 3 Ultra, but I don't think so it's going to be faster than i9. So let's wait for the multi-core test, and as soon as it gets completed, I will show you that. So multi-core test has been completed on Apple MacBook Pro. I've got a score of 12,093 points, and as you can see, the systems are plugged in. And on Samsung, I've got a score of 15,069 points. So again, multi-core, single core in both tests, Samsung Book 3 Ultra is faster compared to M1 MacBook Pro Max or from Apple. On battery, I've got the result for single core and multi-core on Book 3 Ultra. So let's have a look what the results are. As you can see, for multi-score, we got 14,945. On a single core, we have a score of 1163. A couple of things I would like to mention here. While it was performing the single core test, the fans, they were completely off, and it was completely silent. But on the when it was performing the multi-core score, the fans, they were running full blast. So, and the battery life, when I started, I actually ran this test 4 times. So single core test took roughly 13 minutes, and the multi-core test was finished, the loop of 10 tests was finished within 10 minutes. So the battery life, when I started the test, I unplugged the laptop, it was 83%. Now you can see it's 42%. So it did run the test roughly, I would say, for 1 hour. So in 1 hour time, 1 hour 10 minutes, I think it took me, because I just wanted to be sure about the results. I ran it more than 4 times, 4 or 5 times. I can't really remember now. But you can see where the battery life is. On the Mac side, I'm still waiting for the test. I'm running it, as I said, 4 to 5 times to see that I get the accurate result. So you can assume, like, if you're running intensive work and you using the laptop on a battery power, then expect anywhere between 1 hour 40 minutes to 2 hours of battery life on Samsung Book 3 Ultra. And another thing, as you can see, I think, yeah, there you go, it's the display, is the brightness is on a full brightness. So max brightness, unplugged, Cinebench R23, ran multi-core and single core for roughly 1 hour 10 minutes, and it has lost whatever the battery life was, it has lost half the battery. So if it was 100%, it would have been at 50% now. So expect around 2 hours of battery life running this test on when you're using the laptop intensively. And if I'll reduce the brightness, then you can get more battery life. But on a full brightness, expect 2 hours of battery life running intensive tasks. So I've got the scores ready for M1 MacBook Pro Max on a battery power. So as you can see, the single core score on M1 MacBook Pro is 1543 compared to 1163 of Book 3 Ultra, and the multi-core score is 12,444, which is still a bit lesser than the Samsung Book 3 Ultra, which has a 14,945. And while I was doing this test, I saw that the single core performance on Book 3 Ultra and the rendering time of the test, it was quite slow compared to the MacBook Pro. But the multi-core, it was definitely faster on Book 3 Ultra compared to the MacBook Pro. But one thing, as I mentioned before, the fans, they were running on full speed on the Book 3 Ultra. Another thing I want you to notice, there are two settings in this Book 3 Ultra. You need to go in both the settings, which are the system Windows setting, and also you need to look into the, and also you need to go into the Samsung settings, and you need to change the performance, battery and performance settings from there. So you need to have a if you want the maximum performance on a battery, you need to have this on a high performance, as well as the performance setting in the Windows setting. So both sides, you need to put this laptop or select the high performance modes, then it will perform better than MacBook Pro when it comes to doing the multitask, multi-core scores or multitasking when they're using all the cores. But again, the single core performance is better on Apple. Multi-core performance is better on Samsung. Now, let's see the battery life of Apple. Okay, it is on 72%. So you can see here as well, the Apple has been running for the same time the way the Samsung was running. Samsung's battery was going down half. It was on 83%, and when we finished the results after I ran the test 4 or 5 times, it was on 42%. Apple, I ran it 4 times and it was 100% and came down to 72%. So 30% battery used on MacBook Pro compared to 50% battery used on Samsung Book 3 Ultra. And sorry, I forgot to mention that the display was on full brightness again on this one, the MacBook Pro. So if you're doing on a battery, you are performing intensive tasks, video editing, playing games, roughly look for roughly between 1 hour 50 minutes to 2 hours on Book 3 Ultra. And if you are doing the same kind of tasks on MacBook Pro M1 Max, then you are looking for roughly between 3.5 hours, something like that. So not double the performance, but good. You can say you can get 20 to 30% extra on MacBook Pro. Another thing, fans, they were not running on MacBook Pro in a single core test and a multi-core test. So no fans at all. It was completely silent. So let's start the gaming performance now. Obviously, as you know that on Mac OS, I cannot play most of the AAA titles. So I will test those games first, which I can play on both laptops, include Dota, Dota 2 and Civilization 6. These are the games I have, and then I will play a few games on Book 3 Ultra only to give you a bit of an idea of the laptop's performance. So let's start it. So before I start the test, I will go into the settings. In the video settings, as you can see, let's have the brightness right somewhere here. So it's the graphics are maxed out, and let me just use the advanced setting. So I'm not limiting it the frames per second. It's maxed out. The resolution, this is the native resolution of the laptop, 2880 by 1800, 120 hertz, and it's the graphics are maxed out basically. So I'm just going to start the boat match. Pick up any hero. Let's just quickly start the game. Obviously in these type of games there will be I'm not using the mouse, I'm just using the trackpad, so it will depend on basically how busy the screen gets. So let's see, at the moment I am getting roughly 171 frames. Let's see, the fan noise you can hear. The mic is exactly where I am sitting, is not on the top of the laptop, so from those users' perspective, that's how much noise you will be able to hear. So I'm not gonna what you will say, adjust the audio or edit the audio. I will leave the way it is. So let me just show you the frames per second. As you can see on right top, it at the moment is roughly 164, 161. This is plugged in. So let's see, I'm gonna play it for a couple of minutes. When the creeps, they will start coming, and if the screen gets more busy, then we'll get the idea how many frames per second it will drop. It's looking really nice, it's very crisp. I have left the colors on Samsung's default profile. It does give you an option to, if you want to brighten up the screen a bit more, but it's at the moment is on a max brightness. At the moment I'm getting 140, 145. As I said, when the screen gets a bit busier, it will drop few frames. So, but roughly it is above 140. So that's it's kind of a sweet spot. I think they are very playable frames. I'm not sure about the response time of the screen, but it's quite playable, and I think you will enjoy the online multiplayer games. Not the first-person shooters. You need to be more. You need more frames per second on them, but for regular games, these frame rate will be more than enough. So again, the native resolution, which is roughly 3K, maxed out graphics on Dota, it's giving me plus 140 frames per second. At the moment it's 148, 147, round about that. But when you have like 3-4 enemies, 3-4 heroes on the screen with the creeps, it might drop to 135, 140, somewhere around that. But I'd highly doubt it will come below. Below 120 frames. Definitely not. I think it will stay around 140. That's why it is at the moment. It is in high 140s. So let's check the same game on the MacBook. I can't play it together because I've got one Steam account and I cannot play the same game on both accounts together. So yeah, let's jump to the Apple now. Okay, on Mac, on default, it's the resolution is 1728 by 1117. So to check the graphic performance, we need to max it out. So I'm just gonna max it out the native performance. Sorry, I'm gonna max it out the native resolution. Go in Dota. Let's start the game, and it doesn't scale really. It scales on the Windows laptop. So basically, to get the full native resolution, you need to change it in the settings, and then everything starts looking a bit smaller. But yeah, so I'm gonna go into the settings. Let's go into the settings, video settings, change the resolution to the native resolution of 3556 by 2160, just to reconfirm that the native resolution on MacBook Pro is roughly nearly 4K, so it's higher than Apple. So we'll check the gaming performance in the native resolution, and then we will bring the resolution down where Apple was and see how does it perform at that resolution. So let's do that. So we have applied it, and let's start up. I have maxed out the graphics, so let's start the bot match. I pick up the same hero, which was a Wind Ranger, and let's go in. Hopefully you'll get the same enemy as well, but you never know. Okay, at the moment I can assure you that the frame rate is quite a bit down, but let it get settled down first. Okay, because of the resolution, I've changed the resolution. As I've mentioned, that it doesn't scale like Windows. It's different. I don't know why is that, but you barely will be able to see the frames per second in the corner. I don't know. Let's see if you can see. Okay, you need to trust me on that. I'll tell you what the frame rate is. At the moment, the frame rate is 117. So it's roughly, you can say 30 frames. Or at this point, Samsung had 160. So roughly, you can say 40 frames, 40 to 50 frames lesser than Samsung's laptop. But again, this is much higher resolution compared to what Samsung we tested on. So Samsung had 3K, and this one has a 4K resolution. I don't think so anybody gonna come here. So let me move into the lane, and let's wait for the creep. It should be here. It's on the way. But again, no fans running. It's completely silent compared to the Samsung. The fans, they were pretty loud on that one. Not like gaming laptops, but still. Okay, we got the creep here, and now we are getting roughly, I don't know if you can see on a camera, on 100 frames. It's 100, 103, 99. So roughly around 100 frames, and I've got a bit of feeling that it will drop a bit more when there is another hero or multiple heroes on the screen. At the moment it's just the creep, just the creeps at the moment. So we have gone down to 94. There's more creeps on in the screen, so in the frame. So it has gone down to 94, jumping up to 101. So it's not stable as it was on the Samsung laptop. Is fluctuating a lot, but that's why it is. So now just turn down, let's just exit this game, and I'm gonna quickly adjust the graphics. Let's bring the resolution down where the Samsung laptop, let's match the resolution of Samsung laptop. So 2880 by 1800. I think that was the resolution on that Samsung laptop. So apply it. Let's start it. Unfair. Everything else is same. We have just brought the resolution down. Same hero. Skip it. Let's see how many more frames per second we will get by bringing the resolution down. I can see at the moment I'm in 130s, but we need to wait when the creep started coming in. So at the moment it's 130. At this point Samsung had 160 frames. This is showing 130, 125 roughly. So let me just try if I can show you. So at the moment it's 126, 123. So this is frames per second at the moment. So let's see when the creep comes in. We will jump on to the next game then. I think the other one I'll have is the Civilization 6, and we'll just do the in-game benchmark test on that game, and then I'll try to play a few AAA titles on the Samsung one. Okay, creep should start coming. Let's go to the creep by ourselves. So it has dropped to 120 now, 121, 110, 107. There's another hero in the frame as well, which we didn't have last time. So 110, 109. So we have kind of, but it's fluctuating again. It's coming down to 102, 106. So again, I think the frames are not very stable. 107. So we got more or less 10 frames by bringing the resolution down from 4K to 3K. So that's why it is. Again, it's not a gaming laptop, so I can hear the fan now also kicking in on a MacBook Pro. So the fans are working on it. So 107, it's fluctuating between, anyway, now it's dipped down under 100. It was 97 frames. So, but 3K resolution, you will be getting roughly between 100 and 110 frames, which is more or less 40 frames less compared to Samsung's Book 3 Ultra. So raw graphic performance, Samsung is better. And when it comes to MacBook M2 Pro Max, I think that laptop is roughly 20% faster compared to M1 Pro Max when it comes to the graphic performance. So just roughly 120, between 120 130 frames you will get if you buy a MacBook Pro with M2 Pro Max. So that's why it is. It has the same GPU cores on M2 MacBook Pro, but it has more in number. I think that one has 38 cores compared to the 32 cores of this model. So there you go. So even if you go for the M2 version, the latest version of M2 Pro 16, M2 Pro, MacBook Pro 16 with M2 chip, M2 Max, you will still be not getting exactly the same graphic performance which you can get from Book 3 Ultra. So yeah, that's one drawback. Alright, I've started Civilization 5 now, and let's see how this one performs. I will run the in-game benchmarks. It'll give us an idea about roughly how it will perform. By the way, it's not. It hasn't given me DirectX 11 or DirectX 12 option. I think because of the Mac OS, I guess. Where is the gaming options? Graphics. Yeah, there you go. So it was. Let's change it to the max graphics, full screen. Let's change it to. Okay, upscaling, 100% full screen. Yeah, max out the graphics. That's better. Let's go and see. That's the thing with the Apple, that it just everything goes really small. The upscaling is not that the way it is on the thing. So anyway, just come onto the thing, language, graphics, interface, application, go back, game options. Let's run the benchmarks now. Let's run the graphics one first. Okay. Okay, I am getting roughly 39, 40 frames per second. 45 frames. 85 frames. 39 frames. 48 frames. So the result we have, let me just zoom in. So as you can see, the average frame time is 20. Another benchmark. Let's check the AI benchmark. So let's see how many turns it does within let's say 1 minute time. Yeah, so it's running. Let's see how many turns it will do in 1 minute time. So average turn time, as you can see, is 10.43. Now I'm going to check the performance on Book 3 Ultra, Civilization 6. Now this one gives me an option of DirectX 11 and DirectX 12. I don't know if it's going to make any difference, because on MacBook Pro it didn't give me any option like this. So let's just start it in DirectX 12 and see how it will perform. Now this one is straight away I can tell that on the Mac I have to go into the graphics and change it to the max, but this one is recognizing the GPU. I don't know if you can see it is RTX 4070 and it's maxed out. On the MacBook it wasn't any option like this, it was just a resolution, and there was no option to change the frames per second, even though it doesn't really matter in this game. So we didn't do the gathering storm on MacBook, we just did the normal regular graphics and test and the AI test on a MacBook. So we'll do the same on Book 3 Ultra and see how it will perform. Again, for gaming and watching movies and stuff, this is the laptop, definitely. Much more vibrant compared to Apple's MacBook Pro. But that's a 10-bit panel. So we got a bit of better frame rate. I remember MacBook was roughly 39 frames per second here. And I am getting around 47 frames at the moment. 63, 41. Let's see the end result. Can also see the more shadows and smoke. You see the hair, this area, more shadows and smoke on this screen. Okay, so we got 21.217 milliseconds. There you go, that's a score. I'm more interested into the AI score. What does that means? Because that one on Apple, I remember it was 10 point something. Let's check on this one how much it will be on Book 3 Ultra. To me it looks slightly faster, the way it's changing the turns and stuff compared to Apple's. Let's see. I might be wrong. Okay, see, it's 8.10, so lesser the better. More quicker is changing the turns, so you will be spending less time waiting for the other players to finish their turns, especially if you're playing against 10-11 opponents on a huge map. It will save for every turn you will save roughly 2 seconds. So again, computing power, AI, it's faster. I don't know it is because of the hardware or the DirectX 12, but I think that's one that got more to do with the graphics, because definitely I can see the graphics more better on this Book 3 Ultra. Even you can see the waves here, they are moving, and the small things here on the screen. I don't know if the camera is picking up or not, but they have even the birds flying over the boats. These were not on MacBook. So you can see the smoke area here, the lights, the smoke coming out of the planes. Yeah, so it's more detail overall as well, and plus it's faster. So yeah, so let's check some few other games. Alright, I've started God of War. So in this one, let's check it. It is showing, as you can see, RTX 4070 native resolution. I have turned off the DLSS is completely off, and Yeah, everything is off. And let's go back, graphics. Let's push the graphics to ultra. So everything high, ultra settings. It is giving me a red flag here that the system RAM, which is 16 GB, is not enough. It's VRAM, the graphic card RAM, that is fine. It's got a 8 GB, 8 gigabyte GDDR6 RAM, so that's fine. But it's saying the system RAM is not enough. But let's play it. Let's play it. Let's see how good it will play. Okay, I'm getting 44 frames per second, which I think is playable kind of a thing for this type of game. It's not a first person shooter, so I don't know, not bad I guess. So 51, 50, 49, normally play with the mouse, but yeah, 42, it is giving me with the DLSS off, ultra performance. Yeah, so let's change it to, if I go into settings and graphics, let's bring them down to high, and let's see how it does that. Okay, if I bring them down to high, I'm getting high 40s now, 47, 48 frames per second. So 50 frames, 50, 51. So there you go. Let me just go into settings, graphics, them on ultra, and then let's turn on the DLSS, ultra performance. Let's play it on balance first. So yeah, on balanced I'm getting 61, 63 frames, which is absolutely fine, playable. So maxed out graphics, 3K resolution with the DLSS balanced on a balanced mode, and all the graphics maxed out, 3K resolution. You can play this game with 61 frames per second. Here you go, you can see that. Yeah, so not bad. It's not a gaming laptop, but definitely it is not one of those ones that you will not be able to get the 60 plus frames at the highest native resolution. So there you go. Let's come. I'm just gonna, for the sake of that thing, let me just quickly check one thing more, because I haven't checked it before. If I go in a display and put it on DLSS, put it on instead of quality, let's put it on performance, ultra performance. Yeah, so it's going to be rendering in 960 by 600 resolution and will output in 3K resolution. So ultra performance, you will be getting not a huge difference. It's not looking that bad compared to the way it was before, but you are getting another 15 frames more, so 73, 75 frames, so roughly 15 frames more on ultra. So I think it's better to leave it on balance, as it says that best of both worlds. You get an extra 20 frames compared to if you turn the DLSS completely off in native 3K resolution ultra graphics thing. So you get 20 frames more from 40. It takes you up to 60 frames per second, and it doesn't look bad either as well. So here I can tell, yeah, it's definitely slightly mushy, I'll say, but it gives you from balance to performance, but from balance to ultra performance, it gives you only 15 frames extra. Now it's jumping up to nearly 80, but we'll keep it to 15. But the graphic quality does affect quite a lot. So yeah, so I think it's better to leave it at balance. And this game is completely playable on this laptop with or without DLSS on, in native high 3K resolution and ultra graphics. Yeah, so let's check the next game now. Let's check the graphic performance on Grand Theft Auto. So basically DirectX 11 game, full screen, native resolution, 2880 by 1800, 120 Hz screen, and let's see if I max it out. Let's max it out to 8, VSync on, and let's run the benchmark. 66, you can see, you should be able to see the frames per second on the screen. 74, 70, 55, 59. Yeah, so you are roughly getting around 60 frames more or less. So now it is roughly giving me 60, 70 frames, 75 frames per second, as you can see on the screen. So I think it's pretty impressive getting these many frames per second with this thin and light form factor of this laptop. It is very impressive. The only thing, if this laptop has more than 16 GB of RAM available in UK, and I think it's the same problem in Canada as well. So I think it's brilliant. It is brilliant and very impressive. So conclusion, I am really impressed by this laptop, Book 3 Ultra. I would have definitely recommended 100% if this laptop had an option of 32 GB in UK. But if you're in America, and Samsungs, they normally do come with a lot of offers, a lot of trade-in deals. You get freebies with the products as well, their products. So if you are in America and you can get this laptop with RTX 4070 and i9 processor with 32 GB of RAM, I think you will not regret it as far as the gaming and raw performance is concerned. I still haven't done any extensive creative work test on this one, which I will be showing you guys in the next video. So I will download DaVinci Resolve on this one, and will do editing of 8K videos, H.265, H.264, MP4, 10-bit videos. I will do that, and we'll see how well it performs compared to MacBook Pro. When it comes to the raw performance, definitely it is superior than M1 MacBook Pro, and I think if not better, then it will be definitely on par with the M2 Pro Max MacBook Pro. So that's the only concern I have, is the RAM in UK, and I think it's the same problem in Canada as well, and in Canadian market I think it's not even available with RTX 4070. So RTX 4070 definitely does make a difference when playing games. I showed you God of War 60 frames per second with the DLSS turned on with max setting, 3K native resolution, max out graphic setting, same thing with the GTA 5 maxed out settings, native resolution 120 Hz were turned on, and we checked the benchmarks. It was somewhere between 60 and 70. So excellent performance. And this laptop, I've been testing it just for the sake of this video. It's been running for good 5 hours now. I think I did the benchmarks, then tested the games. And when it comes to the MacBook Pro, I think the advantage at the moment is the Mac native apps, especially the Final Cut Pro. Is brilliantly optimized. I have edited multiple 8K footages on this laptop, and with a lot of transitions, a lot of graphics, and it has never given me any problem. And the most important and the best aspect of this laptop, that you will get the same performance whether plugged in or on battery. Here you will lose the performance. The gaming performance, it will be reduced by a good 60-70%. And when it comes to the creative work, you will still lose roughly 40% of the performance compared to when it is plugged in. But here it's almost the same performance whether it's plugged in or on a battery. That's a big, huge plus for the MacBook Pro. Raw performance, again, much better on Samsung Book 3 Ultra. Screen for gaming, for watching movies, content consumption, definitely 10 out of 10 times it's a Samsung's laptop. But when it comes to the creative work, I still think because of the 10-bit panel of MacBook Pro, it's definitely, if you want to buy this panel in the form of a monitor, 24-inch or 27-inch, believe me, trust me, you'll have to pay a lot. Definitely over £1,000 10-bit panel with this color accuracy. So again, it's the way you choose. Overall, if you are not into, I will say, if you just want overall, you can say all-rounder kind of laptop, go for the Samsung one. But if you are strictly going to use your laptop for creative work, or not going to be playing any games or watching movies or anything like that, then go for the Apple. You will be happy with this one. And plus, if you are in the ecosystem, when it comes to the ecosystem as well, Samsung and the Apple's products, they are kind of the same thing. If you got a Galaxy phone, you will enjoy all the apps, the synchronization, everything will be perfect with your Galaxy Book 3 Ultra. The way you can do the airdrops and things like that, that's a thing of a past now, that it was only Apple who were doing this. Now with the Samsung, same thing. You take a picture on your Galaxy phone, and within seconds your picture, video, they appear on this thing. Your note, if you got a Samsung Note, all your notes, they get synced in on your Galaxy laptop. This one doesn't have the touchscreen, but if you are into touchscreen and stuff like that, then they have the other versions, non-ultra versions of the laptop, Samsung laptops, the Samsung Book 3, I think, Book 3 Pro it is, and Book 3 Pro 360. The Book 3 Pro doesn't have the touch input, but the Book 3 Pro 360 has the touch input. So there you go. For me, I think it all depends where you're going to be using the laptop, for what you're going to be using the laptop. I personally, if this one had 32 GB of RAM, I would have sold my MacBook. But I know that when I'll be uploading, when I'll be editing the 8K videos, or the codecs, which are the new codecs on 4K 10-bit videos, H.265, I think I think this laptop will not gonna be powerful enough. It's not the raw performance, it's optimization basically, and the RAM will be the bottleneck on this laptop. I'm pretty sure about that when it comes to editing 8K videos. So there you go. That's it for today. Next video, I will be comparing, as I said before, I will be comparing the creative work performance, mainly the video editing performance on both these laptops. And yeah, if you're interested in that, subscribe, like the video, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.